Hello everybody and welcome to Sunday Q&A, which today is brought to you from the front of the truck because I've done my first job this morning and now I'm on a collection which has got to go to Preston on Monday morning. So I'll be set up for, I've done a good week and I've been set up for, and that sets me up for a good start, you know, like sort of quick off of the blocks on Monday morning. So and while I'm sitting here waiting, because the place is shut at the moment, I think they're at the other warehouse, I thought I'd do my Q&A. You know, it's all time, you know, I'll get it all in. And because I'm in the truck, I have got my my Michael Caine's in the bag, but because I've got the truck glasses on, my Harry Potters. Actually looking more and more like Arthur Lowe every day. Contemporary reference for the 18 to 25-year-olds there. Don't tell him, Pike. So, intro on with it. Yeah, that's what we got to do. So, right. So, London Creative says, when your microphone ran out, because my microphone ran out last week, I suspect you left it plugged in, the receiver that is, so the phone continued to try to record although the mic is dead. And that's what sound got me. That's exactly what happens. I've got my microphone on now. It's a better quality with the microphones, but you don't want to keep looking down to see if you've got like a green light on. So, but I am mucking around with the phones a little bit. I bought another microphone with what they call a dead cat. It's called a dead cat. Brilliant, great big fluffy thing. It's not working. I don't know why it ain't working, but I'll figure that one out. I'm trying to make that one work with the action cameras because I've done another video on work boots, on the new work boots, and it's all right, but the sound ain't brilliant. So I've got to try and get to the bottom of that. And also, Ted Lasso's back. Yay! Episode 1. That's what Nick had to say. If you're not watching Ted Lasso, you should. It's brilliant. He's the nicest guy. But now, on the real news, now we've got that nonsense out of the way. Right, so a lot of the stuff this week was discussing how viable are Euro 5 vans and trucks now, these congestion, these emission zones and low emission zones and ULEZs and what's the CAS stand for? CASs are coming in all over the shop. And like I said, I think it reaches a natural conclusion. I think you get to the point where it's like, it's just proving to be more trouble than it's worth, or the van goes pop and you go, to know what, we can buy a 6-1, we'll get a 6. But what you had to say, BKHKH said, as soon as you understand, this is obviously on the last video, as soon as you understand 10% of what he's talking about, you get C2 level English. Good test. Yeah, I don't understand what I'm talking about, mate. So what chance have you got? I just spout nonsense. I speak 2 languages, English and rubbish. Andy Chivers says, do you pay, this is a good question actually, do you pay if you're Euro 6? No. That's the whole point. That's why they're pushing you to spend extra money to upgrade your motors, because that way if you go into the zone, if you're in a Euro 6 van, you don't pay. And if you're in a Euro 6 lorry, you don't pay. But you do pay because you haven't bought a Euro 5 lorry for like 8 grand. You've bought a Euro 6 lorry which has done the same kind of miles and is the same kind of condition for 16 grand. So you've had to shell out at the beginning to buy the truck, which means even if you don't pay the zone, they'll go, well, you don't have to, the chipper will say you don't have to pay the zone because it doesn't cost you to go. I said, well, yes, it does, because I had to buy the new motor. So the job's the job, you know. Shane Hardy says, what I'm thinking is the best bet is a Euro 5 van. If you're heading into that area, then possibly you're near the zone, chuck a charge on top. That's what I tend to do. If I'm not sure, it's BS4. Is that zone or not? I charge him for it. I put another 60 quid, 100 quid, well, normally a little bit more, and then if you have to swallow it, then you got to toss for coin and it roll of the dice. If it's zone, you're £50 down. If it's not zone, you're £50 up. Only problem is you don't tend to win them because they still want it for the old price despite the fact it's zone. I don't know how they're getting it, to be honest with you. I just avoid them. Hong Kong Fui says, Sheffield just went zone. Newcastle went zone in January. I was speaking to my mate Saudi the Geordie during the week, and I said, the Newcastle zone isn't that big. He went, no, it is. It's a fair distance, like, you know. Yeah, went zone in January to the point that it's going to get to the point where you collect from one zone and deliver to another. This is true. And then you've got to put the zone charge on twice. And then they're having a heart attack going, well, it's only 30 miles. Why have you put in a bid for like 300 quid? Like, it's got 2 zone charges on it, that's why. White man in a van. He says, my issue with the zone charges isn't charging the shipper, it's remembering to pay it on time. Not all zones have auto pay. This is a bugbear for me. and some you don't realise until you get the fine. Also, some zones are only active during certain times of the day. I got my Euro 6, I got my EU 6, the money I was paying in fines has reduced. So I think you're saying since I got my EU 6, the money I was paying in fines has massively reduced. I'm sure it is. The advantage with London is at least you can put it on auto pay. So if you accidentally stray in, it charges you. You go, oh, 15 quid's come out. What you don't want is a letter landing on the door going, you have got a £120 fine or 60 quid or 80 quid if you pay it within 14 days. You're like, oh, I forgot to pay, which is fine. And I wish Birmingham, because you've got to bear in mind, there are bridge tolls. I've had fines for bridge tolls because drivers have gone over the bridge and haven't told me. It doesn't work. And they're not too dear, but they're tolls for Liverpool. They're tolls for Manchester. So what am I supposed to do? Set all the lorries up for a bridge toll in Liverpool because once one lorry went up to Liverpool and went over the bridge. It's all a bit painful, if I'm honest. It is what it is, but it's all a bit painful. Carl Pearson says, never mind the zones. I don't know how anyone stays sane solely driving in the UK. I rarely do UK stuff. And if I go through the night to get home mid-afternoon or get a cheap hotel and then the night again, I refuse to sit in traffic for hours in here. I have Euro 6. I've got higher miles on it, and I've been looking at options including Euro 5 and some good options for Euro 5. But even in Europe, the cities are all getting zones. So Euro 6 is unfortunately the way. At least mine's not AdBlue. I suppose it saves you a little bit of money. It's not really expensive, the AdBlue, is it? But yeah, and that was an interesting point. I thought I haven't really considered Europe, but obviously it's not just us that's doing it. Presumably Paris has got one, Berlin has got one, Rome has got one. Anybody knows what Euro charges are, because I don't do the international, I'm standard national, what the zones are out there, give me a shout and we'll discuss it on a Q&A. Be curious, sort of. But yeah, as for sitting in traffic, that's another thing. All the places where you have to go, where you have to pay the zone charge, are places where it's going to take you a lot longer to do the job anyway. And they still want it for the same money. So it's almost like it's given me... The zone charge gave me an excuse not to drive into London, and I didn't want to drive into London anyway because everybody wanted the jobs for similar money to the home counties, despite the fact they were going to take a lot longer. So, the jobs that I'm not doing because there's zone charge are jobs that I probably wouldn't have picked anyway. So there we go. Goma says... I'm not paying nothing, I will post a ticket to you. It's an interesting theory, my friend. Only problem is it's got your number plate on it. So bear in mind that if you're not paying nothing, and chances are if you post a ticket to me, I'm not paying nothing either, you're going to get another one for a bit more dough. So maybe not the way forward. Jeremy Hawke says... yeah, it's the last on this one. Euro 5 vans will always be perfect for us because we just add it on the customer's bill. So we are so far away from London, Manchester and Birmingham that the most runs are almost hitting 200 miles. So it's easy to absorb £15 or £25 for vans. Trucks, get someone else to run it. Absolutely, Jeremy. Me. Vango Transport. Highly recommend them. Fine bunch of lads. 5 of them running around in 18-ton trucks. One of them being me. Could try the office. Didn't like it very much. Wise Guys. This is the Wise Guys. 8:34. Timestamp. Steve Bell says, oh, Steve Campbell. Hey, he's on community service, but he's not starting work till 9:30. He says, this is the Wise Guys. You can buy number plates online without documentation. I buy mine on eBay. Really? I didn't know you could do that. It's worth bearing in mind though, although fairness, the local auto shop, which is 2 minutes down the road, does my number plates, it's fine. Ricky Davidson says, why are there so many sort of Eastern Bloc Luton vans on the road over here? The ones with the curtain side sleeper cabs. Are they based over here or are they working between UK and Poland? Now, I don't know the answer to this, but Jeremy Hawkesbury seems to say it's car parks between Germany and the UK. I imagine some of it is that. I imagine it is probably picking up a load in somewhere in kind of Eastern Europe, bringing it over here, dropping it off, and then heading back to Eastern Europe. It does beg the issue of cabotage, which is I know that you can drive the idea. Anyway, I think I might have done a video on cabotage. If I haven't, I'll do one. but in the meantime, because you can, it's okay running there and then running back, but you can't run there, run around and then run back. That's not legal. Whether it's going to be a big deal for vans, because I don't know about that. If anyone knows anything more about it, stick it in the comments. We'll discuss. And there was one here. Right, now you know we're doing the actors, which is the Alternative Courier Driver Awards. So this is 2023, which is worst job, most unbelievable return, most convoluted on-site instructions. We still haven't had any of those yet. Best paying job, strangest load, and best burger van. Best burger van. Who's got you? Where do you buy your teas, coffees, and bacon sandwiches? We've got to have a competition for best burger van. I want to turn up and give them an award. Box of pens. The award's a box of pens. Having said that, if it's in Newcastle, they might lose. No, that's not fair. I'll send it. I'll get a courier, post them up there. But this did make me smile. This is from Luke Van Gap. He says, is there an award for weirdest job? Yes, strange. Or you can either have that under, I've fitted it under somewhere. I'm not got strangest load, I think. I might have to shuffle them around a bit if one hasn't got. I think I might just read you. But I like this anyway. You listen to this. I'll keep it vague for reasons that will become clear. Today's pickup was from a rather posh house in a nice seaside town on the south coast. The customer presented me with 2 black sacks apparently containing ladies' clothing and shoes. Here's the passcode for the gate, he says. She won't be expecting you. So if there's any issues or nobody's home, just leave them outside the house. So I proceeded to the London area with said sacks to find an equally posh address. Letting myself in on the gate and ringing the doorbell, I was greeted by a rather surprised looking young lady. Curious of what I bought her, she rips open one of the sacks, clearly revealing some of her own clothing inside, at which point the tears start. It would seem our seaside Lothario had dumped her and hired a courier to dump her possessions on her doorstep. Some polite sighs and concerned smiles from me, and I'm on my way, contemplating the part I just unwittingly played in their lives. You couldn't make it up. No, you can't, mate. That's the joy of the job. But that's brilliant. I love that. So that's going on. So if you've got... If you had a terrible job, you've had an incredible return, best price, couldn't believe it from here to there, most convoluted instructions, not necessarily, it's like most convoluted instructions on how to get there. Like, can you deliver to Reading? It's a big place, Reading. It's near the church. Had that. Best paying job, strangest load, and best burger wagon, and we'll stick it all in the mix, and we're going to do them at the end of the year. So, all right, now we're on to trucks. John Mann says, hi Pete, how many trucks have you got on the HX and is it your main stream of income? I think I've got to do a video on this because I think we're overdue one for someone else asked this question. I have got 5 trucks on at the moment, and yes, it is our main stream of income. We're starting to pick up our own customers. It takes a very long time, but we're getting there slowly. I'll do that in more depth coming up in the coming weeks. Matt Jennings says, not sure how accurate it is, but the haulage exchange shows the average bid paid per category in the last 7 days. Last time I looked, 18 tonnes said £3 and Arctic said £2.90, which surprised me as Arctics have more tyres, more fuel, 50% more servicing due to trailer servicing, although they're slightly cheaper to buy. Also, thanks for the Euro 6 video. No problem. The thing is, Matt, because I had this the other day, and I pulled into a yard and I'm doing a job for a guy, and I quoted him, and he went, oh, we normally pay that for an Arctic, so I did it a little bit cheaper, and he's a new potential customer, and the thing is, I was on site there anyway, and I thought, no problem, I'll do it. Then I thought, as I pulled it afterwards, and I thought, yeah, you might pay that for Arctics, because you pay the same for 18 tonne as you do pay for Arctics, because Arctics can double load. So I might get one load on board for like £250, and Arctics you would choose to get one load, then another load, then one off, then the other off. They're not quite the same on time, and they double load. Trying to tie the jobs up together isn't always easy, but yeah, you would pay the same money, if not more, for an 18 tonne, because it's dedicated. Pick up those 14 pallets, take them straight there, as opposed to pick up them 14 pallets, drive to Northampton, drop off your other 12 pallets, then drive to Coventry and drop off the 14 pallets, which means it's going to get there 2 hours later. So it does make a difference. That's my take on that one. Whether it's right or not, I'm sure people will tell me if I'm wrong. Right, and now welcome to a new regular part of the show. the Antiques Van Show. I like this. Again, it might run, it won't probably. But if you've got an old van that you love and you keep it tidy, whether you're delivering bread or whether you just kind of flowers or whether you just got an old motor like my mate Ken, and you're pleased with it, give us a shout and we might put it. It might get an honourable mention on the Courier Driver Awards at the end of the year. Might even have its own thing, who knows. But Leachy says, hi Pete, it's a good Q&A last week, so thank you. I run an old VW T5. I'm not sure what a T5 is. I remember we used to have the VW, what were they called? LTs. Is that an LT? You mean we had LT, we had LT 35. The 35 stood for 3.5 tonne. Then there was LT 40, LT 4.5 tonne. They could carry more weight. You could downgrade them, but they could. Which only has 78,000 on the clock. I keep it very clean and tidy, and I've never lost a job because of it. Someone did tell me once that I should think about getting a private plate just in case the customers will ask what the reg of the van is. Could happen. I'm curious to know what an LT5 is, a T5. I have to look that one up. I wonder if that's newer or older than the LTs. But if you are driving an old motor, Antiques Van Show. You know. And we're on to miscellaneous. So, Molly the Angora says, based on the information from your video, he says, I've got to buy a van, membership and insurance, which is $530 a month. Now, after 4 days of bidding on the CX, I have exactly 0 jobs. I've started bidding at £1.40 a mile, then £1.30 and so on. I'm now down to 90 pence. Anyway, there is no one to give me at least one job. So based on that information, can you make it the unrealistic prices? He's in an extra long wheelbase. I've got to say, mate, for an extra long wheelbase, you should be quoting, I imagine, between 120 and 140 a mile. The fact that you're new to the CX, the fact that you're new to the CX may delay the fact that you're may make it harder for you to buy jobs. If you can, I recommend maybe sometimes phoning, explaining that you're new and you want to make an impression and the bid is slightly cheaper because you want to do a good job and you want to start building up some feedback. And also bear in mind, there is a video on this. I did a video before, which is the fact that price is not the only factor. It's price, time and feedback are the 3 main factors. If you're on top of the job, you've got a better chance of getting it. But your money's not wrong. And I think anybody out there who's listening to videos, if they go, oh, Pete's lying, you should be quoting 20p a mile. But you know the score. I did another video recently, which was the logical way to work out what you should be bidding. And you can have a look at that. And, you know, if you go too high, it's ridiculous. If you go too low, you're losing money. And anyone who sees someone bid so they're losing money is going to go, this guy's got to be some kind of moron. I'm not employing him. Unless you've got a decent reason for doing it. So, but your money's right. Why you're not doing it, I don't know. Please keep in touch. I hope you haven't lost faith. I hope things are starting to pick up for you. You can go, oh, yeah, I've got it now. I hope. Domain name guy says, for those starting out driving for a living, this is another thing to consider. It may be a career change, etc. You can carry on driving and living for free with no cost up front. Just register. So you could register with a driving agency. These will get you work on a day-to-day basis, and many companies you get sent, the agency will have ULEZ compliant vans and trucks. What he's saying is you can sign up with an agency. You maybe drive their van, so you've got their compliant. You may drive your own van. I did near the beginning. Ben took me in like the HPC mob and signed up with them. And he said I didn't do an awful lot of work for them, but I did work for them through the CX, and we've done a lot subsequently. But yeah, that's what you do. You just rock up. You've got tea and coffee. You sit in the van, and then they'll come out and go, I've got a job for you. That's another way of doing it. And I always say, Molly, don't always just rely on the CX as well. That's another video. Don't just rely on the CX. There are other ways of running out there. There's Shipley, there's agencies you can sign up with, there's talk to your cousin, your uncle, your aunt. Anyway, there's another video on that one. Other ways to do work. And hopefully all those together might give you the kickstart. I hate the fact that anyone's joined and it just ain't working for them. Because I know it works because it worked for me. And I know it works because it's working for new people that comment. It's just not working at the moment. So, right. Road. Oh, yeah. There was a question on Road Warrior. This is from Cheryl Carey. It says, I wonder if they still maintain the app. I've just downloaded it and I've tried to set a route up and start learning how to use it, but it won't show me how to use any map at all, no matter what I do. Just a blank screen. It sounds like it could be good for me. He's a driver's education teacher in Florida, US. Big cheer out to the people on the other side of the pond there. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really use Road Warrior that much because I got Circuit and I really like Circuit. I've done some videos for Circuit. They actually employ me to make some videos. There's another firm out there that's they've got one coming out and I'm in contact with them because I think they might want me to make a few videos just to tell you guys what it is and what it does and see if you're interested. But we'll see what happens on that score. It's got an invoicing part to it, so it's different, isn't it? See how it goes. Shane Hardy says, Pete, a couple of guys, this is a couple of guys to look at regarding the ULEZ expansion and paper mile thing. Check out Brown Car Guy and Jeff Buys Cars. I've also had something from Nick the Urban Trucker, who has given me a link which I've got to do a video for. Oh, you know what it's like. I've got to do a video for that, and there's like a big petition growing to you know, to do with this ULEZ and like us going, look, you can't just keep doing this. You can't just keep taxing us. Oh, we'll have money off you there. We'll have money off you there for no reason. Don't tell us about the environment. It ain't about the environment. It costs more money to scrap the van than it's ever going to use in its lifetime. So, and yeah, I'll get around to it. I'll get around to it. On Gong Fu again, he says there are jobs. There's jobs that are outside the zone, but the route takes you into the zone. The alternative route ends up being around the M25 and over the Dartford Cross, and you're damned either way you go. So what he's saying, if you're going through London, having said that, I'd always go round. There might be one that says the 25's a bit mucked up, so you should go around the North Circular, which you can't do, in which case you have to watch it. It goes rerouting, and you go, hang on a second, it's asking me to pull off on the left here, and that's going to take me in through, it's going to take me in through Heathrow. It's going to take me in through Hayes. Can't do that. You've got to sit in the traffic, which is a nulls, but you ain't going to pay, unless, of course, you think, well, it's going to save me an hour. It's going to cost me 15 quid. For 15 quid, I'll take it. You know, it might be worth it to get me next job in, you know. So, but yeah, other things you've got to watch. The zone is a pain. Just is. Tony Mason says, he said, I got caught out last week. He said, I dropped into Dartford, not in zone, collection in DA1, which went into the zone. So we dropped in DA1 Dartford, not in the zone, collection in DA1, which went into the zone. £100 charge for LEZ. I'm waiting for my fine as I haven't got an HGV safety permit, looking at 375 in total. I only had 3 nights in the job. Depends what vehicle you're in, Tony. If you're in like a 45, a DAF LF45, you'll only get the if you're not registered. No, you've got to register. These ones, this motor here, if I drive into the zone, it's 100 quid. If I drive into the zone in Harry's motor, because it's or the Merc or the 55s, because they've got the narrower windscreen, it's £500 fine, because this one can go in, cost you 100 quid. They can't go in without cameras, so you put cameras on them. Once again, it's a headache. This we know. Getting near the end of the miscellaneous here. Cowboy Dan says, hi Pete, Bowers Couriers here. Been watching the channel for a while. Thank you very much, Dan. Question that bugs me. Do you charge extra for heavy loads? A shipper was what I thought generous, giving me £2 a mile on a 30-mile trip to transport something weighing 1,000 kilos. Is he generous, or is there an incentive for heavy loads? There is. You've got to bear in mind, Dan, from a point of view, also for amount. If I'm shipping 1 pallet, the customer's going to want to pay less than if I'm shipping 14. Because then you think it's 14 pallets, I don't know, say 500 quid, that's 50, I don't know, £35 a pallet. If it's 500 quid for 1 pallet, it's £500. So a lot of dough. Unless I'm moving, you know, sort of microchips or something that's expensive, you're like, well, I will pay that money to get it shipped here. It's like, well, it's foam. No, so yes, there is that, and I think I will a dedicated videos on its way for you, mate, when I get around to it. Seems to be the story of my life. That's in my epitaph now. Bell Sization says, strap everything and everything. It's your license at the end of the day. Think of it as an insurance policy. Better have it than not. I think each unstrapped pallet is around £200 in terms of fines. It depends on them, mate. It depends on them when they stop you. But I do. I strap empty cardboard box now, and I'm taking photos all the way along. It's good. So you're going to see CX. And this week, in conclusion, Craig MCG says, if the shipper asks me to do with like taking £1 off the bill, if the shipper asks me to reduce my fee by £1, not my issue. I've already given the best price. I never ask you to take £1 off for posting the invoice. It's true, isn't it? You know, everything's electronic, but no, we live in the 21st century now, but they still require paper copies of everything. Not everybody knows. We don't. Our new policy is not to post if we don't have to. We keep the PODs, we email them over, or go over on the CX, and we wait for requests. And if someone requests the POD, or if we know that they need it, we'll post it. If they say they don't need it, we keep it in case they go, yeah, actually we do, and then we have to post it. So I think so. That's how the office works. I think. I'm not sure. Like I say, it didn't last so long. Happy in my truck. So right, that's it. Hopefully this firm will turn up soon. We've been waiting half an hour now, haven't I? So might have to give them a bell, which means taking the phone off airplane mode, because otherwise I've finished my video and now I have to go and take care and take money.